Welcome back to part 2 of the gold-filled recovery and refining series videos. This is the silver cell electrolyte, which is silver nitrate, that I cemented out of the solution on a piece of copper. And when I got up and came out this morning, I've got these long stalactite type formations on here. Pretty neat looking. We are now into the refining process, and we're going to refine our nice gold foils here into high purity gold. Let's add this little bit of paper that has some gold mud on it into this filter. Then what I'll do is I'll just take everything out here. Just come right out and just set it right here in this melt dish. And now what we'll do is we'll go out and burn this material in the furnace. Here's our gold foils, the paper in the melt dish. Let's go ahead and put it in our furnace now. And we'll let this burn to burn off all of the paper and other material. Plus, if there's any kind of tin compounds in there, those tin compounds, if we heat this right, heat it up to redness, will convert to tin compounds that are not soluble in the acids. So we just want to heat this to redness and avoid melting those gold foils. I've got the heat set on high, but we don't want to go up over 2,000 degrees and melt this, so we'll keep a close eye on it. I'm going to go ahead and shut the door now, and we'll just let this heat up to redness. See if we can take care of our funnel now. I've got some hydrochloric acid here. I'm going to add a few milliliters to the bottom of this beaker, and we'll take the funnel, which has got some gold mud down in it. It's probably going to have a little bit trapped inside of the funnel as well. I'm just going to lower this right down into this beaker. Now we'll put a couple shots of nitric acid in here. This will form aqua regia in the beaker, and it'll clean our funnel out for us. Put the cover up on it, stir it up a little bit, just a touch, and set it up here on the heat, and we'll just let that go for a little while with some low heat. And that should clean our funnel out for us nicely. Let's turn the heat off, pull this down off the heat. And if you look in here, our funnel should be nice and clean now. The aqua regia will dissolve any gold that was in there. Furnace is up around 1,500 degrees. And what's that, about 750 Celsius. Let's see what we got going on in here. Oh yeah, look at that. It's nice and red hot. I think we can get in here now and get this out of here. Yeah, I think this is going to be... Oh yeah, look at them foils, man. That looks just perfect. Everything's burned up real good. It's red hot. I'm going to take this out of here now and let this cool down. think what we'll do is just add the foils right to this hot beaker that's got a little bit of acid in it from the funnel. Just going to pour these right in now. Still a little bit hot. And we're going to put in some hydrochloric acid on top of those gold foils. Should do it. About 200 milliliters or so. Now we're going to add a squirt, maybe about 1.5 ml or so of sulfuric acid. And that should take care of any lead that we have present. Now we're going to add some nitric acid. I think about, let's see, that's 3, 6, 9, 12, let's add 15 milliliters of nitric acid. Let's see if we can get all this gold to go in solution. Cover it up. And now what we'll do is set it up here on the heat and let this cook on some low heat. While I'm waiting for the gold foils to dissolve, let me go ahead and pull this silver jar up here. Let's take a look and see what we got in here. This is from the nitric boils. Got a piece of copper in here. We got a decent amount of silver that's cemented out off of this piece of copper in here. So there's a little bit more silver than I was expecting down in there. I'm seeing some bubbles in there, and gold-filled scrap is known to have carat gold, solid carat gold pieces in with it. So I'm going to add a little bit more nitric acid here, another 3 milliliters. See if we can get all this material to dissolve. This has been on heating in aqua regia now for about 1.5 hours, but I see some tiny pieces floating on top. I did add a little bit more nitric acid to it earlier. And now I think what we're going to do is add some hydrochloric acid to freshen the acid up a little bit. Just about 100 milliliters or so, maybe 150. Just add this right on in and continue to let this react. I'm going to add another shot of nitric acid, about 3 milliliters, and let this continue to heat. See if we can get all the stuff in there that needs to dissolved in that aqua regia. Adding the fresh acids to the reaction has invigorated it. So while we wait for this, let's take a look at our silver down here. I've got this piece of copper. It's still pretty chunky. Still got quite a bit of material left there. What I'm going to do is we're just going to transfer this down here now into my silver refining stock pot. It's just full of copper down here. Now what we'll do is transfer this waste solution down into this bucket. It's full of copper. Any remaining precious metals in this beaker will get cemented out onto the copper in here. Here's a look at the silver that's left down in our beaker. It's quite a bit, actually. Now what we'll do is rinse the blue liquid off of our silver. Show you how I do that. I think we'll be able to see it better if I move it down here. I always use 2 filters when I do this so I don't break through. I've got the 11 centimeter filter down here covering the floor of the funnel, and then now what we'll do is I've got a 12.5 centimeter funnel or filter. Take this one, I'm going to stick it down into the funnel like so. So we form a double layer of paper so we don't break through as we're rinsing the blue liquid off of our silver. Now we're going to start pouring the silver out of our beaker down into this funnel that's got our filters in it. I'm going to capture the silver in the funnel. I'm going to add some distilled water now to rinse out the blue liquid. I'm adding some distilled water to a pan. We're going to boil this water and use it to clean our silver. I've started adding the hot water to the silver. And it does a good job of rinsing off all this blue liquid. Got the silver all rinsed out. I'm gonna move it up here. And what we'll do now is take down our beaker here with our gold in it and let it start cooling off. Take our silver and get it out of the way momentarily. Now what we'll do is come down here, grab out our bucket. Now we're gonna empty the solution that we pulled off that silver into our silver stock pot. All right, let's see if we can get our silver out of here, down into this melt dish. Nice little cake of silver. All right, let's take our silver over here to the melt table. Let's see if we can melt us up a nice little cake of silver from this cement silver. See how this is going to work. Let's get down in here and see what we got with this thing. Oh, it looks like a lot of copper there, that red color. But that would rise to the surface and sit on the surface if it was silver. Let's see if we can break this apart with a hammer. There we go. There's our little piece of metal. My goodness, it does look like copper. Mostly. There should be some silver under there. Here's our little button or puck of metal that we just melted. Sure looks a lot like copper. I'll file a piece on the edge here. Oh, there's silver underneath there. And now we'll put some silver testing solution on here. Oh yeah. See that red color? It turns red instantly. That means we've got silver. Let me do that test a little better. Expose the metal underneath. Put some of our, this is potassium dichromate dissolved in nitric acid. Turns blood red. That tells me there's silver in here. So this is a piece of silver. Sure got a lot of copper on it though. Very interesting. Let's shift our attention back to this gold now. We should have those foils in solution. I'm going to pour off the liquid into this separate beaker. See what kind of solids we got left down in the bottom of our reaction beaker. And we've got some solids left down in here. I don't know if that's gold or not. Might be carat gold that we've got going on down in there. Well, I've never had this much material left over during a gold-filled refine. I think what we'll do here is transfer these solids into a smaller beaker and see if we can get the rest of this gold material here. It looks like gold to me. See if we get the rest of it to go into solution. This is the solution with the solids in it. Do a quick test with some stannous here. You can see there's gold in that one, big time. And then now what we'll do is reach down in here. And this should be even stronger. This is going to have the bulk of our gold dissolved in it. Should be a nice dark black stain. And it is. So we got gold in both of these solutions. Alright, let's get it set up here to filter our liquid. I'm going to pour this liquid in here. This is just some water with gold in it. There's a bunch of solids on the bottom. I just want to get rid of this liquid. And then here is the solids down in there. That's our carat gold that's left. So what we'll do, I'm going to add some hydrochloric acid to this. I'll set this up on the heat and start heating this up. A little bit of sulfuric acid, just to be safe. Now we'll add some nitric acid, form aqua regia in there, and try to get the rest of those pieces of gold to dissolve. Hit it hard with this aqua regia. I don't care if I have excess nitric, so be it. This is a little platinum button that I did in a previous video. It's being offered for sale on my eBay site, and it had a little bit of borax on it, so I boiled it in some sulfuric to get the rest of that borax off of there. Now what we'll do is we're going to take down our beaker that has our gold in it and take a look in here and see what we got going on. Let's see what we got in here. Yeah, I still feel something in there. There's that piece. You know what? I think that's a steel piece of steel there. That doesn't belong in our beaker. I'm just going to take that out of there. I thought it was gold. I think it's a piece of steel. So let's get rid of that. Drop a couple ice cubes down in here. Let's cool this off. Here's the piece that I fished out that did not dissolve in the aqua regia. And what I'm gonna, I think it's carat gold that passivated with silver, and that's why it did not dissolve. You can see here by this test, it appears to be carat gold. And passivation is when a piece of gold has lots of silver in it, and when the hydrochloric acid in the aqua regia comes in contact with it, it forms a hard crust of silver chloride over the gold and prevents the acids from getting to it. So I think what we'll do with this material is throw it in with our next batch of carat scrap. The solution pulled through that filter fairly quickly, thankfully. Last thing we need is a 6-hour filtering session. Here's what's left in the filter. Might be a few little pieces of gold, but I'm not going to try to chase after that. And put it in solution. And I think what we're going to do now is move this funnel back over here out of the way. This looks pretty good. But I do see some solids down on the bottom down there. So what I think we're going to do is pull up a brand new filter. And we're going to refilter this solution through a new filter paper. And if you look down there, you can see there's some solids down in the bottom of our filter. Looks like silver chloride. Here you can see the silver chloride down on the bottom of the flask down there. Pretty sure that's what that is. Try to rinse it down into the filter and filter it out. We'll put this filter rather, in our paper storage. Might have some precious metals in it. Got everything pulled through the filter now. Here's what our filter looks like. Fairly clean. I'm going to add the solution to our clean beaker over here now. Still got a little bit of junk down on the bottom of this flask. Alright, here we go. We've got some stump out, which is sodium metabisulfite. I'm going to add some of the stump out to this now and precipitate out the pure gold. Should only be about 16 to 18 grams of gold in here. That should do it for us. Let's do a quick stannous test. Make sure we've got the gold precipitated out of our solution. There you can see there's no color change. All of the gold has been precipitated. I've allowed the gold to settle overnight. And now what we'll do is we're going to pour off this waste solution into a temporary waste container. Okay, here's our gold down in the bottom of our beaker. Let me get all the green liquid rinsed off of here. And what I'll do is multiple distilled water rinses and a couple of hydrochloric acid rinses, just to get all the other non-desirable dissolved metals off of this gold. Now let's boil the gold in some hydrochloric acid. Just add a couple 100 milliliters to the gold. I'm going to cover this up and stick it up on the heat here and just give it a quick boil in hydrochloric acid. This has been boiling for about 10 minutes. Now what we'll do is we're going to pour off that solution as waste into our waste container here. Notice it's got a little color to it. And the reason we do these boils, you'll see the gold looks a different color now. The reason we do these boils is because hydrochloric acid does a better job of rinsing the gold free of dissolved metals. And hot hydrochloric does a better job than cold hydrochloric. Alright, I think I'm going to pour a little bit more hydrochloric acid down in here now. Give it a quick rinse with some fresh hydrochloric acid. See how the gold has turned a different color? It's nice and brown now, caramel color like we like to see. Do another hydrochloric rinse. Still see color coming off there. Color is probably some dissolved metals. That looks better. Okay, and if you look down in here now, you can clearly see a difference in color. The gold is brightened up, lightened up, and got rid of that darkness. The gold looks pretty good now. Nice brown color. I think what we'll do is let's this back out of the way. I'm going to add some hydrochloric acid to the gold now. About 100 milliliters or so, not much. Sulfuric acid, just a little bit, maybe half a milliliter, to precipitate out any lead that may have made it this far into the process. Now we'll set this up on the heat. I'm adding nitric acid. I think we're going to go with about 6 milliliters. That should do it here. We only got about 19 grams of gold that we're expecting. So that's 2 droppers of 3 each. That's 6 milliliters. That should do it. This has been on the heat now for about 15 minutes. And you can see we've got a few crumbs of gold left down in the bottom of that beaker. And so what we're going to do, I've got some little bit of nitric acid in this pipette. What I'm going to do is add just a few drops of it to this gold, and that should be enough to get the rest of that gold to go in solution. This is called incremental nitric acid dosing. We do not want to pre-mix the aqua regia 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 of days of old. It's just not done that way anymore, because if you put 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 aqua regia, there's going to be way too much nitric acid. So I've only added about maybe 6 or 8 milliliters of nitric acid, and we add just drops at a time towards the end. And if we do this correctly, there will be no excess nitric in our solution to get rid of. We won't have to denox this because there won't be any excess nitric in there to get rid of. Incremental nitric dosing, one of the most valuable refining techniques that I've ever learned. It took about a half hour to get that all to go into solution. You can see all the gold has dissolved. There's no more solids in there. So what we'll do now is just pull this down and let it cool off. Add a little bit of distilled water to cool it off and dilute it a little bit. Now let's add some ice cubes to cool it off even further, and maybe get a little bit of silver chloride to precipitate out if we have any present. I need to filter our solution. But before I go, I'm probably going to have to filter it twice. This is the flask that had a little bit of silver chloride in it earlier in the video, and I didn't want to add it to the filter. So now what we're going to do is try to get it into this beaker. I need this flask to do this next operation, so I got to clean it out. I've only got 2 of these 1 liter flasks. I'll add some stump out to this little bit of gold in solution, precipitate it out, and we'll set this aside. And then when all this gold comes out of this solution, I'll gather it up, get it in a little filter paper, and melt it into a bead or a button, and then we'll include it with our next batch of carat scrap because it's going to have silver chloride in it. Now we're going to filter our solution, get all the try to get all that silver chloride out of there before we precipitate the gold. Yeah, it's right cloudy. That means we got silver chloride in there. Let's see if we can get it out of here. I'm going to place an ice cube in our filter here with the gold solution, and I really like this particular type of filter. It's a number 2 medium flow, but it seems to filter better than that. It's slower. You can see what's coming down in drips, but this thing will do a good job in getting that finely divided silver chloride that's in there filtered out of our gold solution. Here's what's in our filter. Our solution down here is just a touch cloudy. So what we'll do, let me see how I'm going to do this. I'm going to pour the solution back through the same filter a second time. See if we can get it to clear up. Our solution looks crystal clear and bright. And what we're going to do now is I do not want to rinse the filter out for fear of putting any silver chloride in that filter back into solution. So what we'll do is we're going to take our funnel off of here. Just going to stick it back here temporarily. And now there's our solution. Beautiful. We're going to add the solution to this beaker. Notice there's no residue left up here in the flask. So we've got all the silver chloride out of there. I always seem to forget to do this gonna get a little solution on a piece of filter paper, and let's do a quick stannous test to verify that we've got gold in solution. There you see it, that dark stain means our solution is full of gold. Here we go, let's precipitate the gold a second time with some Stump Out. Stump Out by Bonide is sodium metabisulfite. Here we go, we're gonna put our first spoon in right now. Boom. And that first spoon is always neat to watch. Here goes the second spoon. And this should do it. Maybe one more here. Looking for that white foam. We ain't gonna get it this time. I'm certain all the gold is dropped now. Let's verify we've got all the gold precipitated. Do a stannous test. And you can see by that test, absolutely zero precious metals left in solution now. I rinsed the rest of the gold out of our funnel here, out of the filter paper. There's a little bit of gold solution down in here. So now what we'll do is transfer it into this other little bit of gold that we precipitated out earlier with some SMB. The reason I did this is because it may have had silver chloride in it, and I didn't want to rinse that down into our gold solution. We'll just precipitate a little bit of gold out of here that's going to be in here, and then we'll gather it up in a little filter and melt it up into a button and add it into our next batch of carrot scrap. I've allowed the gold to settle completely, about an hour I guess. Now what we'll do, here's our pure gold. Looks spectacular. Let's pour off this waste solution into my temporary waste container. All right, this second refining cleans the gold up very well for us. Now what I'll do is just like before, multiple water rinses and hydrochloric acid rinses. Try to get all this, the chemicals rinsed off of our gold. I'm going to add some hydrochloric acid onto the gold now. About 100 milliliters. And what we'll do is set this up on the heat and give this a quick boil in hydrochloric acid. It's boiling vigorously in the hydrochloric acid. Got a little color going on in there, maybe. Alright, let's dump this out and get rid of this. This is a waste solution. Oh yeah, the gold is looking very, very clean now. Here we go. Let's get our gold down into this melt dish. Out of here. Take the gold over here to the melt table. Looks pretty good. We're going to melt a supple gold bar. Here's our gorgeous little bar of pure gold. I don't see any traces of contamination. This thing looks beautiful. It's been a while since we got a nice gold bar like this, I guess. Let's go ahead and throw it up here. I was expecting about 19 grams. 26.9. That's what? 7 grams more, 8 grams more than I was expecting. That's phenomenal. We'll offer this for sale on my eBay store. Let it go for bids. Okay, here's our silver that we got out of the gold-filled scrap. And I had a couple pieces here that I hammered out of the borax glass that I poured out. So what is that? That's about 2 ounces of silver. It's probably about 99% pure, 98 to 99% pure. So we got some silver out of there also. But the big deal of the day is this pure gold bar. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's nothing, and I mean nothing, like the look and feel of pure gold in the palm of your hand. All right, this will conclude part 2 of the gold-filled scrap recovery and refining video. Thank you for watching.